Welcome to World Prism. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more breaking updates. A chill has settled over U.S.-Canada relations as a once straightforward military procurement has become a flashpoint for broader tensions between the two allies. What began as a routine defense upgrade has now spiraled into a high-stakes diplomatic standoff, with both sides watching each other's moves closely. At the center of the storm is Canada's multi-billion-dollar F-35 fighter jet deal, a project that was supposed to modernize the Royal Canadian Air Force and strengthen North American defense cooperation. As of late October 2025, Canada's purchase of 88 American-made F-35s is in limbo. Prime Minister Mark Carney's government has launched a comprehensive review, citing concerns over ballooning costs, shifting defense priorities, and the need for greater transparency in the process. Washington has responded with a stern warning. There could be serious consequences if Canada backs away from the agreement. U.S. officials have made it clear that the F-35 deal is not just about hardware, but about trust and the future of the alliance. The review scrutinizes not only the rising costs and promised industrial benefits, but also the strategic implications for both countries. In Washington, the F-35 is seen as a linchpin of defense and a symbol of shared security commitments, making any delay or cancellation a source of deep unease. The delay is transforming what could have been a routine procurement issue into a full-blown diplomatic standoff, especially as broader trade tensions simmer under President Trump's administration. The F-35 deal has become a lightning rod for frustrations on both sides of the border. For Canada, the review is about asserting sovereignty, ensuring value for taxpayers, and making sure Canadian industry benefits from the deal. For the U.S., it's about maintaining trust, upholding defense commitments, and safeguarding North American security through NORAD and other joint initiatives. The Carney government now faces a delicate balancing act, addressing domestic concerns over costs, jobs, and transparency, while also managing the expectations and pressure from its most powerful ally to move forward. The stakes are high. Ottawa must weigh potential political gains at home against the risk of economic retaliation, diplomatic fallout, and the possible weakening of a decades-old alliance that underpins Canadian security. The world is watching closely to see whether Canada will proceed with the deal, scale back its commitment, or pivot in a new direction, and what those choices will mean for the future of the Canada-US alliance and the broader security landscape. The future of Canada's fighter fleet and its relationship with the United States now hangs in the balance, poised at a critical crossroads that could shape North American defense for years to come. Canada's hesitation is driven by the F-35's ballooning costs. A June 2025 Auditor General report revealed the program's lifetime cost has surged nearly 50%, from $19 billion to $27.7 billion, excluding weapons and infrastructure. This escalation has fueled political pressure and public skepticism, making it hard for the government to justify the expense. Delays in upgrading airbases and a shortage of trained personnel add to the financial strain. Prime Minister Carney's focus on fiscal prudence clashes with the F-35's unpredictable costs, prompting a fundamental review. The government must now decide if the F-35's capabilities are worth the mounting, long-term financial burden, or if more affordable alternatives make sense. Despite the uncertainty, Canada is already locked into buying 16 F-35s. Defense Secretary Stephen Fuhr confirmed these jets are deep in production, with 4 fully paid for and long lead parts purchased for 8 more. Backing out now would mean severe penalties. The debate now centers on the remaining 72 jets, where Ottawa still has leverage. The government could proceed, scale back, or supplement the initial F-35s with another aircraft. The first F-35s are set for delivery in 2026, heading to Arizona for pilot and technician training. This looming delivery adds urgency to the review, as the F-35's arrival is imminent regardless of the final decision. The partial commitment shapes the political maneuvering underway. The U.S. warning of serious consequences is both pointed and vague, designed to pressure Ottawa into compliance with its strategic interests. This phrase is often used to signal potential economic, military, and diplomatic repercussions. Economically, the U.S. could restrict Canadian firms' access to the lucrative F-35 supply chain, threatening thousands of jobs. This would not only impact the aerospace sector but could also ripple through related industries, causing significant economic strain. This participation is not guaranteed and depends on Canada's reliability as a partner. Any perceived instability or reluctance could jeopardize future collaborations and contracts. Militarily, backing away could weaken Canada's role in NORAD and NATO, possibly limiting access to intelligence and strategic planning. This could diminish Canada's influence in critical defense alliances. Canada risks being sidelined, flying the same jets, but with less influence. This marginalization could affect its standing in international military operations and joint missions. The fallout could spill into other trade and security issues, hardening the U.S. stance in negotiations. This could lead to stricter trade terms and more rigorous border controls, affecting the flow of goods and people. The F-35 deal is now a litmus test for the entire Canada-US alliance. It symbolizes the broader relationship and mutual trust between the two nations. Ottawa faces strong incentives to find a solution that appeases Washington. The stakes are high, and the Canadian government must navigate this complex situation carefully. The warning underscores that this is more than a transaction. It's about trust and partnership. The future of Canada-US relations may hinge on how this issue is resolved. The F-35 review is at the heart of a domestic battle over jobs and industrial strategy. Industry Minister Melanie Joly argues the current deal lacks guaranteed work for Canadian firms. Unlike traditional contracts, she's floated the idea of supplementing the F-35s with Sweden's Gripen E, which Saab promises to assemble in Canada, creating jobs and boosting industry. This aligns with Prime Minister Carney's push for economic sovereignty and less reliance on U.S. suppliers. The new Defense Investment Agency aims to ensure defense spending benefits Canadian workers. The debate is less about jet performance and more about two visions: integration with the U.S. versus building Canada's own industrial base. The Carney government must balance these competing priorities without damaging the U.S. alliance. The idea of a mixed fleet, F-35s plus Gripens, has become a hot topic. Supporters say it offers flexibility, use cheaper Gripens for routine patrols, save F-35s for high-threat missions, and create Canadian jobs. Politically, it's a compromise: alliance commitments plus domestic benefits. Financially, Gripens are cheaper to operate, but the RCF warns of major downsides. Two fleets mean double the supply chains, spare parts, and training programs, raising costs and complexity. The RCRF insists a single fleet is more efficient and effective. While a mixed fleet may seem clever, it could undermine Canada's air power for a generation. The debate pits political pragmatism against military practicality. The F-35 saga is just the latest twist in a decade-long Canadian procurement drama, a story marked by political battles, shifting priorities, and public scrutiny at every turn. The story began in 2010, when fierce debate erupted over the costs, transparency, and fairness of the process, leading to a cancelled sole source deal and a promise of a new, open competition. The controversy dominated headlines, with politicians and defense experts clashing over what was best for Canada's future. Ironically, after more than a decade of heated reviews, shifting governments, and public consultations, the F-35 was selected anyway in 2023, bringing the debate full circle. Now, with a new Prime Minister in office and defense costs continuing to rise, the decision is once again under review, reigniting old arguments and raising new questions about Canada's defense strategy. Canada faces three options: recommit to buying all 88 F-35s and work to mend and strengthen ties with the United States, its closest ally and defense partner, adopt a mixed fleet of aircraft, which could risk backlash from the U.S. and create logistical headaches for the Royal Canadian Air Force, complicating training and maintenance, or try to renegotiate for fewer jets and better terms, hoping to balance budget constraints with operational needs. Each path carries its own set of risks and rewards: diplomatic, economic, and military. The stakes are high, and every choice will have lasting consequences for Canada's role on the world stage. The coming decision will not only define the RCAF's future capabilities, but also shape the Canada-US relationship for years to come, influencing alliances and defense policy. As of October 2025, the outcome remains uncertain, with the government weighing its options and the public awaiting answers. The only certainty is that the stakes for Canada's defense and diplomacy have never been higher. The world is watching closely as Canada decides its next move.